masses and adding mass to them.
And then that would add mass to everything?
It would potentially add mass to everything.
That's correct. That's very, okay, I'm going to be very careful in here.
Once I had this gear on, I was able to go see this beautiful machine, which makes the redefinition of the kilogram possible.
What is the thing?
It's called the kibble balance.
The kibble balance.
The kibble balance. It used to be called a watt balance, and it does something kind of crazy. One of the scientists there, Doreen El-Haddad, explained it to me.
So you can see, as I told you, we have a 60-ton concrete block, but you can see it's separate from the wall of the lab, so it's, and the whole thing can float.
It's like a thing out of H.G. Wells. It has this great wheel at the top, it has lasers, it has magnets.
Can I like Google it? Can I see it somewhere?
Yeah, let me show you some pictures.
Oh my gosh, look at this thing. It looks like something out of like a brewery, if you've ever been to the back of a brewery and seen all the like tanks and the vats, but way more technical. There's like copper pipes and all these little wheels everywhere. And
yeah, it looks like if a brewery was capable of time travel.
Yes,
like this is what you would imagine. Like Doc Brown is going to like run out any second, like, you know, with some gasket blown.
At the perimeter to the side. No service.
You gotta come back with me.
Service for 2 seconds.
I still need to explain why the kibble balance is so important. And I think to do so, we should talk about light speed and the meter.
Yay, we're back in Wyoming.
That's just really odd.
It used to be the meter was literally just a metal pole in France.
The meter too was a thing in France?
It was a thing in France. Wow. What scientists did in the 80s is they redefined the meter to be the distance light travels in a vacuum, like over a certain amount of time. I think it's like 1/300 millionth of a second or something like that is a meter. They're baking in the definition of the meter to our understanding of the speed of light.
I don't know if there's any other turnoff to go on.
I didn't see any.
As this road's going back into, goes around in a circle.
Take the meter, and suddenly it's something permanent. We know the speed of light, we know it doesn't change, and then we just decided that some proportion of the speed of light is a meter, and now the meter never changes.
So how does that relate back to the kilogram?
Basically what they're doing here is something similar. They're affixing the kilogram to something that's called the Planck constant.
The Planck constant.
The Planck constant. This is actually quantum mechanics. It basically describes how energy works and like really small bits of matter.
Okay.
What's important though is the Planck constant will never change. It's like the speed of light. Wherever you go, it's true. So this is where the kibble balance comes in. It allows us to define the Planck constant, but also allows us to make sure our understanding of the kilogram is tied to the Planck constant, in the same way that our understanding of the meter is fixed to the speed of light. The scientists I was talking to, like they were saying, like this is the most exciting moment of their career, and this whole quest to find a way to make sure our measurements are attached to the things in the universe that will never change is actually like kind of beautiful. One of the scientists was describing to me, like, they know this is technically like a lot more complicated, but philosophically it's a lot simpler. It's basically asking the universe, like, what are the stable things, and then we base our measurements off of the stable things in the universe.
If you want to stop,
so the meter is permanently tied to the speed of light, and now the kilogram is permanently tied to this mathematical concept, the Planck constant. How should I picture it? Like, how should I picture the Planck constant?
One of the scientists I talked to actually had the Planck constant tattooed on his arm.
What does it look like?
I have a picture of it.
Oh my god. It's like the most complicated equation tattoo I've ever seen. It's probably the only equation tattoo I've ever seen. H equals 6.6260715 times 10 to the negative 34, and then it says JS?
Yeah, joule seconds is energy times time.
And under the tattoo you've got on this guy's arm, it says in French cursive, à tout le temps, à tous les peuples.
Yeah, for all times, for all people. Wow. That's the founding motto of the metric system, which became the International System of Units.
Okay.
That's why they love this work, because When you attach something like the kilogram to a constant of nature, you basically unleash it from the vault outside of France. So right now, if you're an airplane manufacturer, like, it's really important to know how much an airplane weighs, so you want to make sure all your scales are calibrated right. They won't have to go to a place like NIST to calibrate their scales. They could just have like a kibble balance on their factory floor and determine precisely what a kilogram is, because it's not something under lock and key anymore. It's just like a truth of the universe.
Brian, you said earlier that they were democratizing weight, but now, like, I really see that you meant it.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't have to rely on a government anymore to tell you what something weighs. A kilogram is now baked into our definition of one of the constants of the universe. Now the kilogram will never change because it's so closely tied to the Planck constant. The meter will never change because it's so closely tied to the speed of light. It's like almost transcendent. Like, you take our messy humanness and we've kind of made it permanent and celestial even. I know a lot of the science can sound really complicated, but the simple part of it is that these scientists, their work is about finding the constant things in the universe that will never change. The things that we can depend on year after year, century after century, perhaps even when the Earth is no longer around. You know, if you think of all the things, you know, in the world that are just so topsy-turvy, that are just so not stable, like, it's really nice that, like, there are people whose work is dedicated to finding the things that will never change. There's definitely a beautiful purpose to that.
Next up, we're going to go back in time to a world before the kilogram. Avery Trufelman, you make the podcasts for 99% Invisible, but right now you will be making a podcast for the Vox Media Podcast Network. Tell us about it. What's it called? Let's start there.
It's called Nice Try, and it's about utopias and failed utopias. And it's in collaboration with Curbed, which is one of my favorite websites. It's like about urbanism and cities, and so a lot of this is from like the planning perspective and about people who've gone out to build new worlds and the ways that they, in some ways, have gone haywire, and in some ways have succeeded. It's very interesting.
Will you whet the appetite with one of these failed utopias?
Oh my God, I love them all. I fall in love with every single one of them. But the one I'm working on right now is about a free love utopia that went corporate, and it turned into a company, and it makes something that's still around you today. Like, you would never know that this is the history of this thing.
Oh my God, is it the shake weight?
I'm not going to tell you.
That's a really good appetite whetter, because you won't even tell us what it is. Now I really have to listen to find out.
You really, really, really do.
Okay, so what do people do in the meantime then if they want to find the show? Is there a trailer?
There's a trailer. We've got a trailer. There's a little website. It's got some graphics. But yeah, they're going to drop, I think, every Thursday starting May 30th. And they're going to be 7 of them. 7 utopias and 7 failures.
Nice try. Find it where you listen to your podcasts right now.
Right now.